This video deals with how you do an article critique. Normally, I get article critiques, and about 10 or 20% of them aren't actual research articles. And that's what I want you to do. I want you to look at research articles and answer all the pertinent questions that I need answered. Strangely enough, uh, people will post article critiques where you can't answer all the questions, and yet they turn it in anyway. Okay, this is Psych 360, Section 44, Fall 2021. I'm Bruce Bradway. I live in Lost Nation, Iowa. I was in Saley for 5 years until COVID, and now I am back at my home base in Iowa. If you need to get a hold of me, there's three ways to do it. I have office hours Monday through Thursday. On Monday and Wednesday, I have office hours from 3 to 5 Pacific time, your time. And on Tuesdays and Thursdays, office hours are 8 to 10 in the morning. Here's the Zoom meeting address. It's the same. It's going to be the same for every day. I don't know why in the world I was thinking that you needed a different time for different days, but we're just going to use this Zoom meeting number and hope that it carries through the semester. That's one way to do it. Another way to do it is email me. Probably emailing is the best bet. I'll read my email a couple times a day. I don't have it on my phone. I don't want to be that connected. But I'll get back to you in about 12 hours. I should get back to you in about 12 hours. And the last gasp, if you can't get a hold of me, this doesn't fit, and email's not working, or it's been down from time to time. You can call me on the telephone. This is my cell phone number, 563-503-0524. And that's a last ditch effort to get a hold of me. If you can't talk to me on Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday, then you can make an appointment, and I will get on the internet, and we'll use the same Zoom number. We'll try to use the same Zoom number. Yeah, I should be able to open up the office hours anytime I want, I think. But Zoom is up and down sometimes too. No classes no synchronous classes on Zoom. I think that's silly myself. Okay, so this is the class 36044. The textbook, if I can find it, there it is really good. This is a textbook that I used when I was teaching up in Montana, and it was the textbook that was used by the Salish Kootenai at Salish Kootenai College, and we were connected. I was teaching at Fort Belknap. Now it's Ani Nakota College. But I was teaching there, and we were connected to the Salish Kootenai College. They had a bachelor's program in social work. And this was their drug use and abuse class textbook, uppers, downers, and all-arounders. Physical and mental effects of psychoactive drugs. It's a really good textbook. No one argues that it's not a good textbook. Okay. So what do you have to do to pass this class? There's three things that you have to do. One of them is that you need to take the chapter quizzes. There are 10 chapters, or I've created 10 chapters. Actually, in the book, there's only 9, but I have added a 10th chapter that's about pharmaceuticals. There's 20 questions on each test, and there's 10 tests, so that's 200 points. You need to write a library paper about something that has to do with drugs or alcohol. You can make it on something that is in your area, or you can write it on some new drug like Flocka that uh, seems to induce people to cannibalize other individuals, as weird as that sounds. Okay, so that's one. And then you have 10 article critiques. Um, I want you to write an article critique on whatever the chapter is about. First chapter is a little nebulous, but most of the chapters are about, uppers, downers, all arounders. They're about gambling addiction, treatment, um, and whatnot. So that's what I'm looking for. So there you go, 500 points total. Doesn't sound that difficult. There's only 10 chapters. The chapters are monsters, though. They're each about 100 pages long. Well, not that long, about 50 pages long. It's a pretty good book. It's an excellent book. If you ever get into this, and actually we were talking about this the other day, creating a certificate for substance abuse counseling. Um, but we'll have to look into it. I just don't have time because I'm teaching so many classes. So we'll see what happens. But if you ever go into drug and alcohol abuse counseling, then this is a really good reference book for you. Everything's always dated. The amphetamines are constantly changing. There is synthetic marijuana out there someplace that it's coming in from China. A lot of crazy stuff going on. So let's go ahead and start. Let's go ahead and talk about article critiques and how you do them. That's the library paper. That's not what we want. Okay. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, these are the questions that you need to answer. Those aren't the questions you need to answer. Wait a minute. Let me get rid of this. Those aren't the questions. Research, article critique, brief summary of the article was a hypothesis analysis of the data. Yeah, these are the questions I want you to answer, and this is how you do it. Um, I've been teaching for about at the college level for about 20 years. Article critiques are a really good way to learn about. The first thing that you need to remember is that psychology is a discipline only because there is research done dealing with the questions in psychology. If it wasn't for the research, then there would be no discipline. It would just be a philosophy. Uh, so that's the reason that psychology is a discipline because we do research. So what I want you to do is I want you to learn how to read the research, and I want you to learn how to investigate, to analyze the research. And that's why I'm having you do the article critiques. I've had several students go to graduate school. I had a former student that just finished his PhD in industrial organizational psychology, and he just took a $100,000 job up in Minnesota, teaching. He's teaching, and I teach 5 class. I'm teaching 5 classes this semester. He only has to teach 1 class this semester. So his schedule's a lot better than mine. Anyways, and he's making a lot more money than I am. Anyway, so this is how you do an article critique. You do a brief summary of the article. You need to write down the title of the article, the brief summary of the article, what was the hypothesis or research question, analysis of the data, what were the reported findings of the study, and then you can talk about it. But another thing that I want you to talk about is the sample. Sometimes samples aren't very good, and let me show you an example of one that isn't very good. And let's go ahead to chronic marijuana. This is an article that was written in 2017. It came out in the American Journal on Addictions. It is research coming out of Greece and Crete. Crete is an island in the Mediterranean Sea. It actually belongs to Greece. Crete does. Sorry, I was getting a drink. Okay, so you can find most of the information that you're looking for right here in the abstract. It will have, and sometimes the abstract is so complete that you'll have all the information that you need. So the first thing that you do, of course, is you write down the title, and the title in this one is Long-Lasting Effects of Chronic Heavy Cannabis Abuse. We're going to talk about marijuana. The second question you need is, or the second thing you need to tell me is a brief summary of the article. Now you could cut and paste the abstract, but that's not what I want. I want you to show me that you understand what is in the article. So you need to read it, synthesize it, and tell me what's in there. So what is this one about? The purpose of the study was to evaluate the extent of short-term memory impairment and schizophrenia-like symptoms in heavy and systematic cannabis users, and the association between the severity of the abuse and the longevity of its persistent symptoms after refraining from such use. The method they used, it's a complete psychiatric examination and a psychometric evaluation performed on 48 solely cannabis users. Additionally, head hair samples were analyzed, and the detected cannabinoids levels were correlated with the psychometric findings. In other words, they made sure they wanted to find out how much marijuana these guys had been smoking. And the way that you do that is by hair analysis. And there were 48 of them, and they were chronic marijuana users. What else do we have? They had non-prisoner. Oh no, they what? 16 and 32. So they had 48. 16 of them were in prison, and 32 of them were non-prisoners, but all of them were heavy marijuana users. Okay, so that's a brief summary of the article. The article looks at chronic marijuana users, and they did a complete psychiatric examination and a psychometric evaluation, and they also looked at the cannabinoid level in their hair, and then they got the results. What was the hypothesis or research question? Actually, they don't really state the research question. It's not really stated very well in this one. But they're trying to find out the research question. You can make it up yourself. In this case, it would be what are the research question would be what are the psychiatric results, effects of chronic cannabis usage. There you go. That fits. Okay, so one of the other things I want to understand is, was it a qualitative or a quantitative study? And in this case, it's both. It's both quantitative and qualitative. The quantitative part has to do with, they're going to give us some statistics, but the qualitative part has to do with the psychiatric evaluation. That is qualitative. So now we need to talk about the sample. The sample in this case are 48 chronic marijuana users. This is in someplace in Greece or in Crete. 16 of them were in prison and 32 of them were not. But they were all chronic marijuana users. Wait a minute. I'll tell you what. Let's take a look at the method, and some here where they talk about. Oh, there they are, the participants. A total of 48 participants, 3 female and 45 male, were heavy chronic and systematic and solely cannabis users with a mean age of 30.2. See, this is good information. 16 of the participants were prisoners and were therefore abstinent with cannabis for a minimum of 2 months. That's, how did they get these people? Where did they find them? And I can't see where they found them anywhere. or how they picked them out. This is the one, if I remember, they used snowball sampling. In other words, they found somebody who was a chronic marijuana user, and then he said, well, I've got all these friends, and they're chronic users too. And then they came in and said, we've got some acquaintances who are chronic users. They used snowball sampling in this. And I saw it somewhere, and now I can't find it. Anyway, okay, so there you go. Target population were chronic marijuana users. How were they selected? In this case, it was snowball sampling. Do you think there was evidence of bias in the sample selection that may influence the findings of the study? And the answer would be probably yes, there is bias because they used some, the selection process was not random. What statistical tests did they use? Did they say up here? Results. They don't say. I was actually going to use another article. Because this one didn't have all the information that I needed. And I'm not sure if they talk about... No, they don't. Okay. Anyway, okay, so let's not worry about that. What were the reported findings of this study? And it was really kind of interesting. We can go back to the abstract to find that. The conclusions, the existence of hallucinations, delusions, and organic brain dysfunction in heavy cannabis users seems to be associated with cannabinoid levels in hair. The continuation of persistent symptoms 3 months after the discontinuation of cannabis abuse was a remarkable finding. In other words, the damage that had been done, the psychotic delusions, the psychotic episodes that they were having, did not dissipate just because they had been abstinent for 3 months. So that was kind of interesting. Were the findings statistically significant? They didn't really talk about that in the article, and then you can discuss that. Okay, there's one of them. Let me show you another one. This is from the Journal of Child and Adolescent Substance Abuse, Adverse Effects of Marijuana Use, the Present State and Future Directions. If you chose this one, you would choose this one incorrectly. If you look at the abstract, there was no research done. They're talking about information. It's a theoretical article, or it's an information article. There was no research done. So this is not one you would want to do an article critique on. I mean, you can't answer most of these questions, even though they're talking about theories of the effects of marijuana use. Okay, one more. This is a really interesting article. Okay, the title of this article is Adolescent Adversity and Concurrent Tobacco, Alcohol, and Marijuana Use by Naomi N. Duke. And as we can see, they do have a population, 126,868. So this is a research article, really kind of a fascinating research article. This was from a student survey that they gave to schools around Minnesota, public and private schools both. The survey that they gave was the 2016 Minnesota Student Survey, and in that they asked them about tobacco, alcohol, and marijuana usage, binge drinking. They asked them about adverse childhood experiences such as being bullied. It's really kind of a fascinating article. So we have the title and the summary of the article. I haven't really read it to you, but they're looking for effects, or who are the people that are the most likely to turn to tobacco, alcohol, and marijuana. They wanted to find out if it was individuals who had adverse childhood experiences. That's what they're trying to do, and that's actually the research question. That's what this article answers. What type of a study was it? It was a quantitative study, almost exclusively. The sample was 126,868 high school and middle school students. I think the youngest students that they looked at were fifth graders. Uh, how were they selected? This is what would be referred to as a census sample. Census sample is where you sample everybody. And that's what they did. They sampled everybody in the state. They could opt out. They didn't have to do it if their parents told them, or if the parents wouldn't sign their sheet allowing them to do it. But it was a census sample anyway. Almost everybody was tested. How were they selected? Do you think there was evidence of bias? Since it's a census sample, you can't really talk about bias since it's everybody in all the kids in the state. Analysis of the data, identify the statistical test. So where are we going to find that? We're going to find that in the results. There's the method. And you could read that if you like. The measurements that they used, it was a survey that asked a lot of different questions. Data analysis. They used what is called multivariate logistic regression. Usually when you have large numbers like this, regression analysis is used, and that's what they did here. Regression analysis. Okay. What were the reported findings of the study? This is really kind of interesting. We can go back up to the abstract to get this. The results, individual and cumulative measures for adversity were significantly associated with youth, increased odds of early substance initiation, binge drinking, and daily tobacco, alcohol, and marijuana use, even with the adjustment of demographics and other contextual factors. Findings suggest a significant link between broad concepts for adverse child experiences and adolescent tobacco, alcohol, and marijuana use. So there's your answer right there. Okay. Okay, that's it. And we've looked at 3 different articles. One of the things that you need to do when you do an article critique is you need to give me a reference. So we need to reference this article, we need to reference this article, and we need to run it to reference this article. The Nestoros article, the Sledzinski article, and the Duke article. Okay, and here we go. All right, whoops, sorry. Close all tabs, there we go. Okay, there we go. There they all are. Make this bigger. There we go. There's all 3 of the articles. Now, only one of these I worked up. The rest of them I found ways to cite them. Let me show you. We can go to. That's not what I want. No, that's not what I want. We can get them to cite them for you. There are different organizations. APA, if anything you find on APA, will cite it for you. NCBI will always cite it for you if you ask them to anyway. Wait a second. Let me put this one in to here. Okay. Okay. So there we go. We've got an NCBI. Now this is really kind of interesting because they always do it wrong. They always cite things wrong. You can ask them, and here's all the information you need for a good reference, but you can ask them to cite it for you. And as you can see, this is the APA format. So all you have to do is copy and paste this, and it's really close to being correct. They also do it in MLA, AMA, and NLM. So anytime you find something from the National Library of Medicine, you can actually get them to cite it for you. Now there's a problem here. For some reason, NCBI does this incorrectly. Everything's okay. The title of the article is in lowercase, and that's correct. But the title of the journals is all the words are supposed to be capitalized except for the preposition, of course. So journals should be capitalized and addiction should be capitalized. Except for that, this is absolutely correct. Okay, that one's good. Let's go to another one. Let's do the Duke article, I think. We'll put it in here and see if we can find it in APA. Okay, yeah, here in NCBI. NCBI again. Okay, NCBI. So we go to Cite. I've already got it set up. As you can see, they didn't capitalize all the words, and this is incorrect. According to the 7th edition publication manual for the APA, all these words should be capitalized, except of course, it's a preposition. And all of these words need not be capitalized. So they got it incorrect, and that's okay. But at least the part that bothers me the most is the DOI number. You need a DOI number with all of your references. If they've got one, sometimes they don't, especially if it's a really old one. But I just hate writing these things down. So I like to copy and paste at least the DOI number. And here's the DOI number right here. So what's the difference between these two? Well, it's this part right here, HTTPS. But if you can put the DOI number in, let me go ahead and put the DOI number in. This is kind of a weird article. You can put it in Google, and it will take you right to the article. There you go. Adverse effects of marijuana. The Sledzinski article. There you go, Taylor and Francis. Let's see if they've got it someplace that will reference. This is the one that I had to write myself, so we can't. Okay. Yeah. There's all the information you need. There's the volume number, the journal number. Here's the page numbers. There's a DOI number, which I just hate to write down. I hate to write these things because they've got dots and they've got dashes and this is a really long number. Anyway, there you go. So this is the one I had to write myself, and there it is. In the old days, in volume 6, you never use an ampersand. This is an ampersand right here. But now you can put an ampersand in a journal journal title. I know how nitpicky are we? And the answer is pretty nitpicky. But I just had a student that complimented me and thanked me for forcing them to do this correctly, because when she's a first year graduate student, and she turned in her first paper, and she was given accolades by the professor because she did this correctly and hardly anybody else did. Why is this important? It is. It's just important. So I apologize for that, or not. It's a good organizational way of doing things. But there you go. That's how you do an article critique. And I'll put this online, and I'll talk to you guys later. Good luck with the semester. If you have any questions about anything, I'll be glad to help you in any way I possibly can. If you have any questions about drug use and abuse, I'm here to talk to. And that's it. I'll talk to you guys later. Have a good day if I can find my